Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome back if you were on my first webinar this morning at 9:30. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Chris, and I'm one of the Shortcuts educators. Now, I appreciate we've got some familiar faces, so thank you ever so much. Welcome back. Great to have you on board. So what we're going to be going through today is basically client management. Now, what that essentially means is a couple of things we're going to cover that will really help you out, sort of ensure you've got as much client data as possible, of course, adhering to all GDPR regulations. So just before we get straight into that, there is a little bit of initial housekeeping. Again, I apologize if some of you have been on my webinars before. You should be nice and familiar with this already. So the duration of this webinar is going to be approximately 30 minutes. Okay, so it's going to be a nice quick one, just sort of break the day up a little bit. My microphone is, of course, switched on, whereas everyone else has automatically been muted. So hopefully everyone can hear me now. And of course, your speakers must be turned on to hear this webinar. Questions, as always, will be taken during or at the end of the webinar using the chat box. Now, feel free to jump in, with questions at sort of any point you like, really. It's entirely up to yourselves. Depending on the actual subject matter of them, I may just leave them to the end, or it is something specific to what we're talking about at that particular moment in time. Of course, I will answer it there and then, just so we don't get lost. Lovely. So let's have a look at what we're going to be covering this morning. So we're going to be looking at how to merge duplicate clients. Now, this is something myself, I particularly get asked this quite a bit. And I think at times it can be quite daunting. But what we're going to do, we're just going to go through it nice and slowly this morning, just to sort of show the ways we can merge our clients. Now, the reason we do this is because it throws out our marketing if we've got more results popping up for clients and they end up just being the same client. And of course, we don't want to send things like, welcome back or non-returning campaigns and things like that to real regular clients, but there just happens to be a second profile for them, which never gets used. And of course, for GDPR, we need to ensure our database is nice and tidy. We're also going to be looking at accessing and updating client visit notes. Now, some of you may have done this before, but I just want to ensure everyone knows exactly how we use like the messages, the notes, the alerts, everything like that. Because there have been a few times where I've just sort of spoken to some salons and they're not quite sure how to differentiate between the different settings. We're also going to be looking at how to edit your client's profile cards. I'm also going to be looking at opting in and GDPR management. Very important. This is to do with like ratings and reviews, saying, we're happy for them to rate and review us. We're happy to contact the client for marketing. We're happy to contact the client for messages and all sorts of things like that. We're also going to be looking at our client accuracy report. Okay. Now, the reason for this is during lockdown and things like that, we, of course, wanted to contact our clients. Now, some salons wanted to contact these clients via email, and we found out it became quite apparent that we didn't have all of the email addresses on file. So this is where it's really handy to know how accurate our client cards are, how much information we have taken from those clients. I'm also going to be looking at setting up a PPE sundry, personal protective equipment. Now, some of you may not charge for this, some of you may charge for this, but as we know, it is now mandatory for all clients when visiting a salon to be wearing face coverings. Now, if they're not wearing them, you may, of course, provide them, and there may be a small charge for this. If this is the case, and this is your terms and conditions, shall we say, I will show you how to add this on as a sundry income charge. Lovely. So, of course, as always, if you do need to contact us, please feel free to do so at education@shortcuts.co.uk. Feel free to just drop us a little email there and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Or give us a phone call on 0161 972 4900. Lovely. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump straight into it. And the first thing we need to do is simply open up our Shortcuts Fusion system. And we're going to start with merging. Like we said, this sometimes gives people a little bit of a headache, but we're going to run through it today. It's nice and easy. We're just going to go through the relevant steps. And there are really a couple of ways we can merge clients. Now, the first way is when a client is created. When a client is created, it may just pop up saying this client is, already in the database. So let's just have a little look. Who have we got? So we've got a client here called Test, a rather apt name there. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new client, okay? We haven't noticed that this client is already in our database. So we're going to intentionally make a mistake here and we're going to duplicate this client. So we're going to pretend this is a new client. And you'll notice as soon as we click the done button, it says this client may be a duplicate entry. Choose one of the following options. We can keep this client if we think, no, they just share the same name, and we want to keep them completely separate, or we can merge with an existing client and remove the duplicate entry. Or of course we can ask later, so the next time we go to merge a client, this will pop up. So what I'm going to do first and foremost, I'm just going to pop a little dot just in that circle, just there, and we're going to merge with the existing client because of course they share the same first name, they share the same last name, and they share the same phone number. So I'm happy that this is a duplicate client. We're going to finalize this by simply clicking the done button. Okay, and you'll now notice we've only got the one client. Now, please do not worry, you will not lose account payments or anything like that. So as we can see, this client already had money on his account and it hasn't been lost. So we're not going to be losing any money off the account or anything like that. Now, the second way is I'd very much recommend we do this at the end of the day or the beginning of the next working day. The reason I recommend this is because it will shut your shortcut system down. So what we do is we click onto the client section on the right-hand side of our navigation bar. And we're going to click this button here where it says merge. And what we're going to do is in the bottom left-hand corner, we're just going to click the search button. You can match on first name, last name. I would very much recommend matching on the first and last name. And you can also do a date range to scan. So I'm just going to do 0 to 3 months, but you can do clients that visited in the last 3 to 6 months and so forth. In the bottom left-hand corner, what we're going to do is click search. And you'll notice this little warning box comes up. Now this essentially helps you, okay? This basically is a tutorial of how to merge clients together. So just while you're getting the hang of it, I would always recommend just keeping this. So what you'll notice here, we've got our 2 clients. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start to just expand some of these columns just here. And we can always use the slidey bar down the bottom just in case any of the fields or the columns do disappear off of the screen. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to simply double check to make sure that the client is a duplicate because, we may actually have 2 John Smiths, 2 Chris D's, things like that. We need to ensure first and foremost that they are actually the same client. And we can do this by matching on the first and last name. And we can also double check things such as the phone number, email address, and so forth. So I'm looking at this here, and these 2 clients, I'm happy that they are the same. So what we need to do is we need to choose a master and we need to choose a merge. Now the master is typically the one with the most information or the latest service history, anything like that. It's quite intuitive and it does most of the hard work for you. So you can see that here, first visited, number of visits, and so forth. Then all we need to do is just simply choose the client we're going to merge it with. So I'm just going to pop a tick in this box just here. Okay. Now what we can do is if there were some fields that were maybe in the merge box just here, so maybe we had an email address, what we can do is we can copy that across to the master copy just to ensure it isn't lost. So let's have a look at our second client here, Donald Duck, okay? Or Don Duck, I should say. Now, I'm happy that they're the same client. I know they've got a mobile number there, but there's also another mobile number, but I think that is possibly a work number and just been put into the wrong field. Now, you'll also notice if I just expand this, you can also notice there's a little home phone number just here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. And what I'm going to do is copy the phone numbers to master because I don't want to lose this home phone number. So I'm just going to copy these phone numbers to master. Okay. And it says, are you sure you want to replace this mobile number with this mobile number? I'm happy to do so. If you're not happy, just simply click the no button. Okay. So I'm happy to do so. So I'm just going to click the yes button. And it's now transferred those phone numbers across. Now, of course, you could do exactly the same for the email address and everything like that. Then all we would do is simply place a tick in this box just here to merge the clients together. Now, if these weren't duplicate clients and they were simply individual clients, but they just share the same name, we can essentially not include them in future searches. So the reason we do that is so you don't have to keep going, no, they're not the same client, they're completely individual. You'll see here there is a column where it says future searches. I'm just going to exclude those. So that now means the next time we run a search to merge all of our clients, these 2 clients here will no longer appear because I'm happy that they're separate clients and I don't want them to appear each and every time. Then all we need to do is simply click the merge button in the bottom right hand corner. It will then take 2 to 3 minutes and it will shut your shortcut system down. So of course, I'm not going to do that. If not, what you can do is you can simply click the done button and you can save your changes before closing. And that is how we can merge our clients together. Now, I'd very much recommend doing this sort of as a slow process moving forward. Merge maybe 15 or 20 clients, then run another search from 3 to 6 months, and then 6 to 9 months. Because depending on how long you've had your shortcut software, you may find you are merging 50, 60, 70, or 80 clients, okay? And that, of course, could be quite time consuming. Lovely. So that is how we can merge our clients together. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is history notes, alerts, temporary notes, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an appointment. Okay, and the first thing we're going to add in is a temporary note. Now, this is something we need to be made aware of for this particular appointment. Now, it could be that my client here, Chris, has rang up and said he's running a little bit late. So we're going to add a temporary note onto this appointment. So what we're going to do using the right-hand side of our mouse, or if you're using a touch screen, you can simply hold your finger on the screen until a square appears. But what we're going to do is do a right click on our mouse. And we're going to go down to where it says Notes. In the notes box, we're just going to pop the little note in there. So we're just going to say we're running late. You'll now notice in the top right-hand corner, we've got a little post-it note. And when we tap onto this, you will see on our touch tip, we have where it says running late. Now that is only a temporary note, and that is only going to appear on this particular appointment. It won't appear on, further appointments or anything like that. But if we do want to add that in, that is what we call an alert. So what we're going to do is this time using the left-hand side of our mouse, we're going to double left click. And just here, we're going to click where it says card. And this will open up all of the personal information for this particular client. In the bottom left-hand corner, you will see there is a red siren where it says alert. I'm just going to pop in there my alert that the client has an allergy to latex. Now you'll also notice here it is always date specific. This is just in case something particularly happened on this appointment. So maybe they weren't feeling very well or for any other reason you see applicable. What you'll now notice when we look at this appointment, we have an orange and white exclamation mark. And again, when we tap onto this appointment, open up the touch tip and you will see the client message. Client has an allergy to latex. Now we can also see this prior to making an appointment, and this is visible in the client dashboard. You will see this particular client here, they have an allergy to latex, and we can see that on our client dashboard. So that is how we can add an alert in. But what about opting in for GDPR and things like that? So again, we're going to double left click and we're going to click on the card button exactly the same. Now over here on the right hand side, you will also see we have opt-in details, such as things via SMS for marketing, via email for marketing, via phone for marketing. With the client's permission, we can of course opt them in for all marketing, confirmations, loyalty and ratings and reviews. When the card is complete, we can simply tick this box here where it says card complete. Now you'll also notice we have a big white box here where it says message. And a lot of the times our salons like to input client history in there, such as color notes, visit notes, or things like that. My personal recommendation wouldn't be. In this message box to the left-hand side, this is where we would put things such as client recently got married, client recently had a baby, something like that. Something you can quickly refer back to when the client is next in for an appointment. And again, we can click the save button. But what about if we do wish to capture any barber notes or any color notes, the particular color that they had when they visited your salon? What you'll notice in the client card is there is a history button just here. Down the bottom of the screen, what we're going to do is we're going to click the New button. And in the big white box titled Visit Notes, we're going to type the visit notes in. And all we're going to do is simply click the Done button in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, if you're using online client information cards, which means on the tablet, clients can access their client information in the salon with one of your staff members, you can see all of this information just here. So what that does is it gives you a bit of an extension of your reception desk. Now, let's say that a client comes into the salon and they say to you, do you know what, Chris, I love the color you did on my hair 6 months ago. And you're thinking to yourself, blimey, I can't remember the color that I did 6 months ago. But you have been making a note of it on the history. So again, you can come into the client's history just here. And what you can do is you can pop a little date range in just here where it says date range. Set yourself a date range up. And it will give you a list of all of the color notes, all of the barber notes, clinic notes, everything like that this particular client had. This is a great way to be super accurate when you're looking at your client's history notes. Now, what I'm going to show you now is a very good report. Now, as I said at the beginning, we had lots of salons when they wanted to contact their clients. We noticed that we didn't have email addresses or we didn't have phone numbers on file. And we can run a report to see just how accurate we've been with gathering and garnering our client information. So what we're going to do is in the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to click the Tools button. And we're going to click where it says Reports. Over on the left-hand side, the third option down, we're going to expand Clients. And we're going to go down to the report here where it says Client Card Accuracy. Now what this does is it essentially shows you how much information you have gathered on that client. Now it could be, if the card is complete, it could be that you've taken a mobile number or an email address or so forth. Down the bottom of the screen, what we're going to do is we're going to click the View button. Now, as we look at this, we can see the percentage of our clients with data recorded. On the left-hand side of our bar chart, we've got the percentages, so 100, 80, 60, and so forth. And down the bottom, we have the card fields, such as the home address, the postcode, the home phone, the mobile number, the email address, and so forth. So just looking at this, 92.3% of all of our clients have filled out their gender, which is a really strong amount, and 92.31% of all of our clients have filled out their mobile number. But you'll notice here, we only have 30% of our clients that have filled out an email address. So that means less than half of our clients have given an email address. Now, of course, this has a knock-on effect when it comes to things such as marketing. Because if you want to send out a marketing campaign and you've only got 30% of your clients that have specified an email address, not many of your clients are going to receive these email campaigns, which means if you want to really target your clients and ensure, you really maximize your campaigns going out, you're of course going to have to send them out via text message, which will eat into your bundles. So what we can do is if we scroll down, again, we can see our fields. So we've got our card complete, home address, postcode, and so forth. And we can see the number of cards completed is 4 cards, so not very many. Out of all of our clients, only 4 of them have specified an email address. So what we can do is we click this blue button here where it says Details. We can see a list of those clients that have not specified an email address. Now, of course, making sure we do adhere to GDPR regulations, we could potentially print this out by clicking the print button towards the bottom right-hand corner and maybe just request the next time this client comes in, are they happy for us to take an email address? Are they happy for us to take a phone number? Okay. But of course, please ensure we adhere to GDPR regulations for that. Excellent. So the last thing we're going to go through this morning, ladies and gents, is setting up a PPE sundry, a personal protective equipment sundry income. Now, sundry income is essentially an ad hoc payment into the salon, a one-off payment. Now, as we know, due to COVID, it is now mandatory for all stylists as well as clients to wear a face covering. Now, of course, most clients are bringing those face coverings in, but should they forget, we may wish to provide it for that client. And of course, if we do so, we may wish to recoup some money. We may charge that client. So what we can do, rather than setting it up as a product and rather than setting it up as a service, because of course, if your staff members earn commission and you set it up as a product or you set it up as a service, they're of course going to earn commission on that. So what we can do, we can set it up as a sundry income. To do so, in the bottom right-hand corner, what we're going to do is click the Setup button. And we're going to click Configuration towards the center of our screen. Over on the left-hand side, the fifth option down, we're going to click where it says Sundry Income. And what we're going to do is click the New button. And I'm just going to call it PPE, Personal Protective Equipment. Now, if you want to manually add this in at the point of sale screen, so you don't want it to be automated, if you want to manually add it in, simply leave it as it is, but in the top right-hand corner, pop the amount in that you're going to charge. Okay, so £2.50, whatever it may be. But if you want it to be automatically added onto the client's bill, don't worry, you can remove it. If you want it to be automatically added onto the client's bill, what we're going to do is where it says Sundry Type, we're going to hit the drop-down arrow. And we're going to choose Date Surcharge. And then what we're going to do is choose Fixed Amount Surcharge. And we're going to type that in, so £2.50. Over on the right-hand side, we're going to say what the surcharge applies to. So we're just going to keep it on services. So I'm going to say this is only applicable to services. Then underneath, we're going to choose the date, or the day, sorry, that the surcharge will become available. Now what we're going to do is simply click the Save button. And we're going to click the Done button. You may just have to give a quick restart to your shortcut system, but what that now means, the next time you make an appointment, it will automatically appear at the point of sale screen. And that basically means, you know, that £2.50 will be added in automatically, and you can, of course, just remove it. And there we go, ladies and gents. That is how we can manage our client details a little bit more. Thank you ever so much for listening to me this morning. I appreciate it was only a short one just to sort of break the day up a little bit there. If you do have any questions, of course, please feel free to drop those across to me now. Perfect. No problem. Lovely stuff. Okay, so of course, if you do have any further questions or you want to give us a call or drop us an email, of course, always please feel free to do so. If not, hopefully I shall speak to everyone again soon. Thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. Again, my name was Chris, and hopefully I shall speak to you all again soon. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye for now.